So today we are going to continue our talk about produce, but we're going to start taking a look at the health side of things. So to get this discussion started, what I would like you to do is brainstorm. Think back to the foods that you ate yesterday and what fruits and vegetables did you eat? So you could list those out on paper. You can just kind of make a list in your head, but just think about what did you actually eat that were fruits and vegetables. Okay, now that you have that list in your head, think of the amounts that you were eating. And what do you think? Did any of you get at least 5 servings of fruits and vegetables yesterday? And that's total because the recommended daily serving or amounts that you should be getting would be somewhere between 5 and 13. Okay, so 5 is the minimum amount of servings a day, 13 would be on the high side. So, did you get at least 5 servings? I'm going to imagine that there's many of us that would say no. And you're not alone in that because when I'm brainstorming how many fruits and vegetables I had yesterday, I did not get to 5. I got close, but I didn't get to 5. And for me personally, it's always a struggle just because the older I'm getting, I'm just not liking fruits as much anymore. I do like vegetables, but I'm not getting what's recommended each day. So there's definitely some room for growth for all of us, I would assume, because each day can look different from day to day into the next. So we just want to be mindful of let's make sure we're getting those servings of fruits and vegetables. Because if we're not, then we know that there's things that can start to catch up with us and there could be some health consequences because of it. So, what I wanted to show you really quick was a survey or a national poll that's done. So, each year, the C.S. Mott Children's Hospital, they do this national poll on children's health, and they ask a sample of adults to identify health topics that are a big concern for children and teens. And this was a poll that they did showing the top 10 health concerns for children. And I believe this was 2018, 2019. So these were the top 10. So if you take a look at the list, you can see how it's broken down. Bullying and cyberbullying is number 1. But then look at the next 2, not enough exercise and unhealthy eating. Which that's interesting because when you look at the polls from years past, unhealthy eating, obesity, something physical health related is typically in the top 10. So, with that said, if there is a concern, then that's something that we definitely want to be addressing. And I mean, you can take a look at the others that are listed, and I'm pretty sure you've had discussions on these concerns in your health classes, in our plan or advisory classes that we have in Waukee. It's things that if we know it's a concern, we want to be doing something about it. Now, to kind of back up the part where it's like the unhealthy eating and oh my goodness, what's going on? Um, World Health Organization always puts out facts and research and data every year, every few years. And what I'm showing you is some data that I recently pulled. So the worldwide prevalence of obesity nearly tripled between the years 1975 and 2016. Well, you kind of wonder, did unhealthy eating play a part in that? Are there other things going on that's playing a part in this? Because that's a pretty big jump, like nearly tripled. In 2019, an estimated 38.2 million children under the age of 5 were overweight or obese. And this is what's interesting because this was once considered to be a high income country problem, that it had to be happening in urban settings, big cities, like not so much anymore. We're starting to see overweight and obesity numbers on the rise in low and middle income countries. So that's definitely been a change. Overweight and obesity are linked to more deaths worldwide than underweight. And globally, there are more people who are obese than underweight. And this is occurring in every region of the world except for parts of sub Saharan Africa and in parts of Asia. So this is like, whoa, it's definitely starting to span out globally. So, why does this matter? Well, because there are some common health consequences of overweight and obesity. So, anytime you have a raised BMI, it's going to increase your risk factor for what we call non communicable diseases. So, these would be things you've learned about in your health classes, but it never hurts to review. So, we would see increased risks of cardiovascular disease, so heart disease, stroke. We would see increased risk for diabetes. We'd see increased risk for things we know to be musculoskeletal disorders. I tripped on that word. Especially osteoarthritis, which is really impacting the joints. Because, I mean, think about it. Anytime we have more weight on our body than what our body frame is wanting to carry, then yeah, that's putting extra pressure on our joints and they're having to do a little bit extra work and that's obviously going to impact them. We know that obesity and overweight can increase risk of some cancers. So if you look at our list there, endometrial, breast cancer, ovarian cancer, prostate, liver, gallbladder, kidney, and colon. That's quite a list. So yeah, cancer, that's scary stuff. Childhood obesity is associated with a higher chance of obesity, premature death, and disability in adulthood. In addition to increased risk factors or future risks, obese children experience breathing difficulties, increased risk of fractures, hypertension, early markers of cardiovascular disease, insulin resistance, and psychological effects. And I want to hit on that psychological effect one because what we do know is that obesity causes a broad range of health problems that weren't typically seen until adulthood. As far as some psychological effects, we know that people with overweight or obesity can be prone to low self esteem, negative body image, and depression. And that's pretty sad stuff. We don't want to be having physical and psychological effects occurring. Did you know that excess weight at young ages has been linked to higher and earlier death rates in adulthood? So much, in fact, that this has been a few years ago now. We had one of our former Surgeon Generals, his name was Richard. He was quoted as saying, because of the increasing rates of obesity, unhealthy eating habits, and physical inactivity, we may see the first generation that will be less healthy and have a shorter life expectancy than their parents. Okay, what does that mean? That means he was predicting that many of you will die before your parents, aunts and uncles, that age group. You'll die before they do, is what he's predicting. And we obviously, I mean, we're living the data right now and we're creating it as we speak. But it is interesting how we are seeing people at younger ages passing away from what we consider non communicable diseases, things that can be diet related. And that's just very, very frightening stuff because being a parent myself, I would like to assume that I would pass away before my children do. I don't want my own children passing away from what I would call diet related diseases before I do because that's not, to me, that just doesn't seem right. Like if I'm older, then I should be the one that would pass away first. It shouldn't be my own kids. And I don't think I would be alone in thinking that either. So a lot of adults I think would have that mindset of they would pass on before their children do. So what's interesting then is if you look at the number of deaths for leading causes of death in the United States, and this is data from 2018, now you can start to see the numbers. How many thousands of people were dying because of those causes of death. And I highlighted the ones that we could see some links to obesity, overweight, unhealthy eating. Now, obviously, that's not the cause in every single one of these cases, but I would have to believe that it was a cause in some of them. Okay. So it's very staggering numbers. It's frightening stuff when you start to see like 655,381 people. That's a lot of people. So just kind of things to think about. And yeah, what we do and what we put into our bodies, it can impact us. So that's where we're going to link this back to talking about fruits and vegetables, because one thing that we can do to help reverse some of these statistics and help the numbers go down is we can start eating our fruits and vegetables and making sure that we're getting our daily recommended servings. So 5 to 13 servings. Something, okay? And the reason why fruits and vegetables are so good for us is because we know that there's so many minerals and vitamins and lots of things going on in them that can help improve our health. And one thing I want to talk about is this thing called phytochemicals, because I think that's something that it might get mentioned and talked about a little bit, but I don't know. Oftentimes we just think vitamins, minerals, that's it. Well, no, there's some other things, and that's why I want to talk about phytochemicals today. I want you to understand what's really cool about them. So, first, let's start with what are phytochemicals. So, phytochemicals are naturally occurring compounds in plants that have positive impacts on health. So, obviously, if they're in plants, we know that they're going to be found in fruits and vegetables. Okay, so what can they do? Because that's kind of the big question, like what's the big deal about them? Well, they can act as antioxidants. They can enhance our immune system. So that's pretty cool. So it's going to help our body fight off different things and help keep it healthy. They can keep cancer cells from forming and multiplying. They can influence the body's production of cholesterol as far as keeping our happy cholesterol in check as well as our low cholesterol in check, or our LDL, I should say, our not so happy cholesterol. And they can protect us from diseases like cancer, diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, and then blindness caused by aging. So those are some pretty cool things that phytochemicals can do. That's why if you have ever heard someone say, get your rainbow, catch your rainbow every day of fruits and vegetables, make sure you're getting lots of different colors of fruits and vegetables. Well, the reason for that is because the more colors of fruits and vegetables you get in a day, the more phytochemicals you're actually getting, as well as a more wider variety of vitamins and minerals. So here's the thing. I had said at one time that if you're a person who only likes to eat apples, well, guess what? It's a fruit and it's something. And you stick with what you like because at least you're getting something into your body. Now, if you're a person that you like a couple of different fruits and vegetables, well, let's say you like red apples. Say you like broccoli, that's green. Let's say you like oranges, that's orange. Well, that would be 3 different colors. You're getting a little bit more of the rainbow, which means you're getting more variety of phytochemicals and vitamins and minerals, and that's a good thing, okay? So consider trying some different colors when you can. All right, so why should you get your servings of fruits and vegetables every day? So what are some reasons to get your 5 a day? Because that's the thing. Remember, 5 is the minimum for recommended daily servings for fruits and vegetables. So maybe there's some of these that you think, ooh, that's a good reason. And maybe that's reason enough for you to consider consuming more fruits and vegetables. So, the first one is that statistically speaking, people who eat 5 or more servings of fruits and vegetables every day have half the risk of developing certain types of cancers when compared to individuals who only eat 1 to 2 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. That's a big deal, everybody. I mean, think about it. You could be cutting your risk of developing certain cancers in half. That's like, wow, that's pretty cool. Now, grain of salt with this one. This isn't going to cut your risk of all types of cancers. So, unfortunately, I'll give you an example. There would be some of us where cancer is just genetically a part of our history, as far as like grandpa had it, grandma had it, mom had it, cousin had it, now I could possibly have it, because obviously there's things that can be passed down, and that's just kind of, that's genetics, okay? But if there's a way that we can reduce some of these kinds of cancers based off of what we're putting into our body, well, I don't know about you, but I kind of think it's worth it. Another reason to get your 5 servings of fruits and vegetables every day is to help reduce risk of all of these diet-related diseases that we see here. So heart disease, diabetes, stroke, high blood pressure, cataracts, obesity, and osteoporosis. If you know anything about any of these, you know that they start to catch up with you and they can do damage in your body, and it's not good. So if eating 5 servings a day could help reduce our risk, yeah, that could be reason enough to get your fruits and vegetables. Another reason to get your servings of fruits and vegetables every day would be that you're getting all these phytochemicals. You're definitely getting vitamins and minerals, but especially things that are going to help your skin to make it appear healthier, maybe clear it up a little bit if you are having some acne issues. Now, again, acne is more than just healthy or unhealthy eating. There can be other things that come into play there too. So grain of salt with that one. It can help with your hair. It can help it look healthier, shinier. It can help with your eyes. Like you just have that like bright sparkle twinkle in your eye kind of a look. And then it can help you have a trim body. Notice it's a trim body. It doesn't say a perfect body. It doesn't say a body that's like, oh my gosh, like, whoa, you look like Mr. or Miss Universe. Like, no, 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 no. Trim body just means when we look at you, you're looking healthy. You're looking happy. You don't have to be bench pressing 300 pounds. You don't have to be looking like a model. Like, no, no, no. You look healthy, okay? Versus, oh my gosh, you look like you're knocking on death's door. Okay, which that could take on lots of different forms. Okay, so if I look at the graphic here, this body is looking a little bit healthier than this body over here, right? As just an example. So a trim body, you're looking healthy. Okay. All right. Another reason to get your 5 a day would be that fruits and vegetables are pretty convenient. They're easy to work with. And if you're picking the ones that you like, well, then yeah, they're going to taste great. Okay. And the cool thing about growing up in the age and times that you are is that many grocery stores have fruits and vegetables already pre-washed, pre-cut. All you have to do is open up the package and you eat them. That's pretty awesome. Okay. Now, will you spend more for those? Yeah, they'll cost more in the grocery store. But here's the thing, if it means you're going to eat them, then guess what? It could help outweigh some of the costs that you would be accruing if all of a sudden you're getting diet-related diseases later on in your life. Okay? So the cost could be worth the health benefit in the long run. Okay. Another thing that we have are these Steam Fresh bags. I don't know if you've tried them before, but wow, it's so awesome. Like you stick them in your microwave for however many minutes it says on the back of the bag, and you have steam fresh, healthy vegetables ready to be eaten. No prep required. Just stick the bag in the microwave. Okay, so that's pretty cool stuff that we have. All right, another reason to get your 5 a day is that fruits and vegetables are low in calories, fat, and sodium, which if you think of the correlation, well, yeah, calories, fat, and sodium, if you're getting too much of that stuff, well, then that's what's increasing your risk of all those non communicable diet related diseases. So I want you to take a look at this heart here because we know that heart disease can be a really big leading cause of death in the United States. And the picture on the left, this would be a picture of a heart from a person who was experiencing obesity. So look at all the fat that has built up around the heart muscle tissue compared to a healthy heart. Well, yeah, that's a pretty big difference. All right. And then I actually have 6 reasons. Ha ha ha. So another reason to get your 5 a day would be because fruits and vegetables are good sources of fiber, folates, potassium, and vitamins A and C. All good things for our body. And as far as good sources of fiber, you can see the graphic here, just some really good produce that we could consume. And then we've got some really great examples over here as well. So lots of great things can be found from consuming fruits and vegetables. Now, as far as what makes a serving, well, if you're interested, you could obviously measure out according to what they say for daily recommended servings. So, like a medium sized fruit, well, then you could get into cups and all that kind of stuff. Here's the thing, sometimes we don't always know, well, how much is that cup size to get my serving? So, if it ever says a medium sized fruit, think about a tennis ball. A tennis ball is very comparable to a medium-sized fruit. But then when it gets into other things like this half cup thing for cooked, canned, and then down here, that's about the size of a tennis ball too. Okay, so there are different ways that you could use objects or even your hands to determine serving sizes. So for example, your fist is going to equal about a cup of fruits and vegetables, or especially this, it's close enough to a cup of what would be 100% fruit or vegetable juice. Okay, and then if you're ever wondering, well, you can always Google it. You could look at the back of the container and look at the labels and see, okay, how much is actually going to make a serving. So those would be some options as well. Okay, so now that you know a little bit more about this health stuff here, I would like you to go back into Canvas, and these 5 questions are going to be posted, and you are going to be able to then submit your answers to them. So go on into your Canvas agenda, take a look at these questions, and we'll keep moving on.